Hi guys, today on Red Dog Bushcraft we're going to have a little bit of venison heart stir fry or deep fry here. I got a little bit of a different recipe I'm going to try. I'll bring you in closer and show you that here in just a second. We'll just have a little fireside chat while we're cooking up some lunch and talk about a new knife that I recently purchased and what I think about it so far. Stay with me, I'll reposition the camera, I'll be right back. Okay, we've got a pan of oil over top of the campfire heating up here, and I'm going to go ahead and put some water on the boil also. Hunter would like a little bit of ramen noodles. And here in this container on the stump in front of me is a venison heart. Deer season is open here in the eastern part of Virginia, and I was fortunate enough to be able to harvest a nice doe the other day. It was on a with a game tag, and I'm going to try something a little bit different today. I've sliced this up nice and thin, cleaning all of the vein and the fat, what little bit there was on it, and that hard white muscular looking tissue. And I'm going to take hush puppy mix, and I'm going to add that right to that container. Now this the heart is not dry, but I washed it and just shook it out real good in this container, so it's not real wet either. Now I'm going to just give this a good shake, get it coated up real good. We're going to put that into oil and fry it up and see how it does. Okay, it looks like the water is coming to a boil now, and the oil is getting pretty hot, so it's going to be ready to start cooking here in a minute. But while that's getting ready, I wanted to go ahead and tell you my thoughts so far on this new Blind Horse knives that I just recently picked up. I got this last month. It was the special a couple of months ago. It's called the Blind Horse Knife Go No Show GNS. When I saw this knife, I was really excited because this is really what I've been looking for. Now I have two other Blind Horse knives, the PLSK1, which is a great one-tool option. I love that knife. It's a great Scandinavian grind. I processed a deer with it last year. I have a video on that, and it did just fine. And then I bought the Pathfinder Scout, which is a larger butcher knife style, very similar to this in blade design and materials, but it is a good sized knife. You can look up the specs on both of those if you like. But this particular knife has a 5-inch blade, and it just looked like a great all-purpose knife. If I was going to just have something for around camp, for preparing food, and something that I could process game, this looked like it would be a good option, so that's the reason I decided to pick it up. The other thing I like about it is it comes with a really nice sheath with a fire steel loop, and I like this dangle system, but it also has a belt loop on the back so that you can use it and not be a dangler if you want to. The knife design, the way the handle is shaped, really has performed well so far for kitchen and around the camp chores. But the purpose of this video and cooking up lunch today was I was able to harvest a deer last night, and I wanted to see how this knife would be as far as skinning and processing that animal. This knife was razor sharp right out of the box. I did run the stripe on it, leather stripe, just a few times, just because I do it with all of my knives. I think it really helps that edge maintain. And I processed that deer the other night, and I can tell you this thing is still razor sharp. Last night I was slicing off thin slivers of paper all the way across a piece of standard size paper, printer paper, and no issues whatsoever. Now this particular animal, I did skin the entire animal from feet all the way out to the nose because I want to save that hide, and maybe I can get that on a video later because it was a pretty unusual looking animal. But so far, the way this thing feels in my hands, the way it performed during the skinning operations, I really enjoyed it, and so far this is my favorite Blind Horse knife. You know, it may not be the all-purpose, all-go-to one-tool option, but for an everyday around the camp and bushcraft type knife, I'm really enjoying it. So let's get back to a little bit of cooking now. Okay, like I said, what I've done is I've sliced this heart up and cleaned it, and I've battered it in a hush puppy mix, and I'm just going to drop a couple of pieces at a time in this hot oil and let that fry up. And I'm going to go ahead and get Hunter Man some ramen noodles going on this front pot, and we'll see what this looks like when it's done. Okay, here's just a quick shot of some of that heart frying up. All I did was I put about 1 inch to 1.25 inches of oil in the bottom of that little stainless steel cook pot there. And I used a small pot so that I could keep my oil hot, and I'm only frying about 3 pieces at a time. So it's taking a few minutes, but the campfire is good and hot, and it works out just fine. Now, you know, cultures all over the world have traditions about animals that you harvest, and the person who takes that animal, that takes that animal's life, having the heart, and there's all kinds of different meanings from it. But for me, I enjoy it because, well, number one, it's good meat. I mean, it's just as lean and as good as it can be. And I'll taste it here in just a few minutes, but you'd be surprised how tender it is. But the other thing is, I think it really connects you with that animal. It really makes you thankful when you go out and you harvest animals like that. You're taking that animal's life, and when you do that and you process that meat up yourself rather than buying it in a grocery store where it all comes in a nice, neat little wrapper, I think it gives you a better appreciation for that animal and causes you to want to utilize that resource in every way that you possibly know how. And it's a respect thing that I have towards my animals. So just my 2 cents worth on having the heart of the animals that I harvest. We'll do a little taste test, see how it's turning out. Okay, well, here it is all fried up. Let's do a little taste of this and see how it turned out. You know, it's good. It is a little oily. I think these last couple pieces that I cooked, my temperature of my oil started to drop a little bit, so I didn't get a good crust on the outside like the first couple of pieces. But that Hush Puppy mix has an onion flavor in it, and you can really taste that onion and seasonings coming out in it. That's a good fry mix. I will definitely do this again. Alright guys, I'm Tim Langston with Red Dog Bushcraft. Thanks once again for joining me for this short, well, an update, more of a review of the recent knife purchase, and joining me as I cook up a little lunch here today. I hope you enjoyed it as much as I enjoyed bringing it to you. And like I said during the video earlier, guys, you guys that hunt and trap, utilize your resources, be thankful for it, treat it with respect, be good to what God provides to us, and they'll be good to you. So until next time, God bless.